Hello and welcome to another fun episode of Mind Power Meets Mystic. I am Michelle Walters. I am a hypnotherapist and the mind power part of our equation. And I am joined with my co-host Cinthia Varkevisser. She is our show Mystic. Today is another one of our guest episodes, and we have a very exciting and lovely guest to introduce you all to. Our guest is Dayana, and Dayana is the founder of Spirit Roots and a retreat curator and a sacred space holder. She's lived many lives in this one lifetime. Dayana is born and raised in Colombia and carries the medicine of her ancestors and the stories of survival, strength, and awakening. A childhood marked by trauma taught Dayana how to fight, how to stay silent, and how to make herself small. But even in the darkest moments, Spirit whispered to her, and eventually she began to listen. Her healing began as she became a mother. She experienced heartbreak, grieved losses, and awakened to the wisdom of her lineage. Dayana chose to let Spirit route the way, reclaiming her voice, her power, and her path. Welcome to Mind Power Meets Mystic.
Yeah, thank you so much for the intro, Michelle. Thank you for creating this space at Mind Power Meets Mystic. This podcast is my first time, so I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Oh, we're really excited to have you. And just as a reminder to our listeners, is that we are working on our chakra series, Business with Chakras. And
Mhm.
we have you, we're very honored to have you for our seventh chakra, which is the
Mhm.
sacred crown chakra, right?
Mhm.
And the work that you do has been profound for me and others. There was a beautiful story of someone that is a realtor, and she talked about how she couldn't have kids. And after going to a healing with you, I got to see her just about ready to give birth. So it was a really amazing story, and it was so touching, especially as a woman and a mom, right? So tell us how this all started. How did you get into ceremonial work and plant,
Yeah.
medicinal plant healing?
Plant healing, yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. Well, it's just, I feel like Michelle read it pretty well in my bio. This is really much rooted from inner child trauma, growing up in Colombia, growing up in chaos, and growing up into be an adult that recognized that there was a lot that needed to be healed and there was a lot that needed to be worked through. I was tired of coping with just things that didn't bring life to me, like alcohol, and I wanted to connect more into like my higher essence, and I got a huge heart opening experience in 2017. And after that experience, that my heart opened so wide and I was able to see the beautiful earth and all this magic. I think before I was more looking at it from a survival lens, so I didn't really get to appreciate the beautiful things in life. But in 2017, I was there, and that completely opened my heart. And that moment, I just started asking, like, oh my God, what am I here to do? Like, I recognized for the first time ever that there was a purpose of why I came into this earth, and there was a mission. And it just really like elevated me, and it took me to the next level of my journey, was working with ancestral indigenous medicine, that it reconnected to my natural essence. So it's just kind of been like an evolution of growth. I didn't know my spirit was going to pick this lifetime with so many moving parts, and I'm so grateful because after now overcoming basically everything, all the obstacles that have come my way so far, now I'm able to sit in a position where I can provide a beautiful space for people to come and heal and tap into themselves. So it's been really like an evolution of healing and growth.
Love it. So, that's a great overview. I want to know how you met your teacher
Yeah.
and how did that, well, let me tell you, I met my teacher by accident. My
Mm.
mom's best friend would get her hair done by this woman named Connie. My
Okay.
mom's best friend refused to do any kind of readings, but told my mom. My
Mm.
mom didn't go to this woman. She told my dad to go.
Mm.
My dad went, oh, no, no, I lied. So then she went for a reading. Then she told me to go for a reading. And we tried talking to, getting my dad to go. And when I told Connie, she says, "Yeah, I don't see him coming." And he passed away,
Mm.
So it was one of those things. So I knew that she was legit. But I didn't
Mhm.
like her because she like her information was just so painfully accurate, and at 18, I wanted to be perfect.
Yeah.
So, but we grew into this amazing relationship, and now, I call her my Swami mommy, and I connect with her as she has, you know.
Yeah.
So tell me, I got to meet your
Thank
teacher.
you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that story.
Cry.
My teacher was also a very like divinely set up story. Like I had no idea that my teacher currently, the one that I'm doing a lot of the work with, it was through my awareness of me needing to work with indigenous medicine, specifically mother plant ayahuasca. And as you know, in order to work with that medicine, you have to go through a diet, which is a dieta. And it's a bunch of like purification to the body and just kind of cleansing so you have a good experience. So, in me discovering what it is that I needed to go on to this dieta, and I was learning that I needed to stop eating meat, red meat, anything that came from an animal. I needed to stop drinking alcohol, any recreational drugs, any pharmaceuticals, or and even sex. So at that time, I said, okay, just in my diet alone, I'm gonna meet basically the people that I need to meet. And just in my diet alone, my all my relationships shifted, majority of them. But in that process, I started to connect with the folks that were really aligned and they were really supporting me in this journey. So I went into an Herbalife bar after a gym workout and I met a woman and she just out of nowhere invited me to an ayahuasca ceremony. And that happened to be for my birthday, which I had said previously, I had set intentions that I was going to have a rebirth. So it happened to be that weekend. And I, going to work with my teacher at that time when he was serving, it was in the mountain, very raw. Like there's no bathrooms or facilities. It was just like, okay, you need to use a bathroom. Here's a shovel. Go figure it out. So it was like kind of like that rawness of it. So in a sense, like I was terrified, but then I was so excited that I knew something big was going to happen, and that was the day that I met my teacher. And he's an amazing person. He's so wise, and I just like for me, it's an honor to be able to be connected with such divine being and offer me such a beautiful process. We did the five medicine journey, and that completely took me to the next level of my personal growth. And until this day, like I still work with him, and it's just for me, it's an honor to be able to work with my elders still.
That's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful, Dejana. Um, I'm curious how the plant medicine works when it is alongside other work. When people are doing other work on their intuition or tapping or hypnosis or that kind of a thing.
Yeah. I think
Because
it's
I'm
really
sure many of
supportive.
your people are doing
Yeah.
are not doing one thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this process is not really a one thing process. Like we're really discovering that we're multidimensional beings. So, some people could get into it just through meditation or maybe tapping or sound or movement or plant medicine. Like whichever revenue you go through, it's the going through it part that matters the most, that takes you to the medicine. And I was doing a whole bunch of stuff because I was so interested and I was seeking. So when you're seeking, you're like, oh, I want to try Reiki. I want to try this. I want to try reconnective healing. I was like, what is this? What is that? So I had so many things. But what I noticed is it was like a vibration around my crown that was kind of tender, painful, but not really painful. But it was like a lot of pressure. It kind of felt like something like was really heavy in my crown, but that's when right before I got into working with the medicine. But the practices, because I was doing a lot of meditations, what you put your tongue in your palate and a lot of oming, just all the new things that you discover when you're finally learning to seek. And then those practices took me to the vibrations, and then once I actually work with the indigenous medicine, that like if I had a cap in my crown, I feel like that blew my cap off. It was so profound, like the amount of information and the amount of stuff that it is able to be received through the indigenous medicine. Yeah.
Here's what I love about your work. You work with this incredibly old medicine, right? Ancestral energy. However, you made sure that it is relayed in a very current way. So there's a lot of information. It comes across clinical. It
Mhm.
is laid out front to back what you can do. There's actually a moment, not a moment, there's actually a time block for you to talk about each of the medicines that you go through before you actually have that. And
Mhm.
I see you go to a uh, networking events where
Yes.
you talk about plant medicine. I love that you infuse the, the new with the traditional. How did
Yeah.
you find your way to be the bridge?
Hmm.
And how's that working for you right now? Like, how's that working for the people who are coming to you right now?
Yeah, yeah. It's actually quite at the beginning is a bit terrifying to just kind of speak freely about this medicine because through time they've put so many, taboos or hidden agendas or even it can be prosecuted. So it creates a lot of fear and it creates a lot of doubt with folks not really understanding its nature illegal, so it's about like coming into an understanding that we are a part of nature and everything that is in our nature, in our mother nature, it is meant for us to experience and work with. And it's I've always said it's not the medicine, it's the student, so if the student doesn't have self-control, it could be anything. It could be with food, it could be with drugs, it could be with the gym, it could be so many things that if there's no like balance, it can take it out of context. So for me it was really understanding that at that time I was doing talk therapy, and talk therapy was nice, but I felt like, in a sense, I was kind of giving therapy to my therapist because of my story was just so deep and profound and so much trauma that it just became like, I need something more, like something that's deep within myself, like something that it's in my subconscious. I can feel the blockage. It was just like, like for the people that get the calling to do medicine, it's just a calling that is so loud that this is what you need. And for me, stepping into the fear, leaning forward and just saying, hey, I'm here to accept that nature works with us, nature is here with us, and did my research, did my cleansing, did my dieta, and then I went and I sat with the medicine, and it was the most divine experience ever. Like facing yourself is not scary. Like I know some people think like maybe the monster or the kukui may come out, and it's not even like that. It's just you, it's facing you, is coming to closure with the things that have hurt you in the past, understanding things in a different way, seeing like your relatives, your elders, your parents in a different light so you don't carry resentment. So there's many like misconceptions about this medicine, but it's really like I think what empowers me to work to talk about this medicine so publicly now is because of all the healing that I received from it. I no longer see it as like, oh my gosh, it's criminalized and we can't work with this medicine, because no, it's like we have to decriminalize nature. Like we have to nature is here to work with us. The pharmaceuticals, that's a different agenda, right? It's a different story. So it's like if we can reconnect with Mother Earth in a simple way, she gives us everything that we need. Everything.
I love that. I think that's beautiful. And
Yeah.
everybody here knows that I am like into nature, nature, nature.
Yes.
But I
Yes.
have not yet tried
Mm-hmm.
these medicines. I think there may
Mm-hmm.
be a day for that, but it
Yeah.
just hasn't arrived yet. I do think that some of it is just a little bit of fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
And and I suspect I'm not, I mean, the other thing, and this could totally happen, is I think I've said this to Cinthia before. I'm not sure I've shared this on the podcast, but like years and years ago, I love musicals, like stage show musicals. And I really wanted to go see Phantom of the Opera, but I didn't really have money for tickets, and it took forever for me to like save up and find somebody to go with. And then when I finally went to see Phantom of the Opera, like I'd been waiting to go for a year. It was okay. Like, and so I do wonder if some of my hesitation and other folks' hesitation with plant medicines is like is it possible to build it up so big and then it's like, oh, it's kind of like you learned something that you could have learned by looking in the mirror. It just gave you it just took the fog away or something.
Yeah, yeah. It's the smoke and mirrors, right? Like we
Yeah.
think things are going to be
Yeah.
a certain way, and then in our own mind, it's a prophecy of its own thinking, right? So whatever you're thinking about, if you're thinking is going to be scary, then you're going to start to gain all this fear for it because it's scary, and it's like it's really not. I mean, honestly, like everybody gets a different experience, so it's really hard to say like what you're going to receive from the medicine. But I know in general it's a key to your subconscious mind, and whatever is hidden in the subconscious that you are ready to process, that you are ready to work through, the medicine will show you. The medicine is also not gonna like bring everything out and completely destroy you, and like, no, it's
Right.
not like that. Like she gives you exactly what you need. So there's like this internal intelligence that humans haven't even been able to really understand how this medicine works. But what we know for sure, and through all the experiences I've sat through and I witnessed, even my own, is that the medicine gives you exactly what you need. So let's just say if you need just need rest because you don't give yourself the permission to rest because you are so tired and so overworked, and you come and you drink this medicine and you hyped it up so much and it's like it's such a big deal, and you drink it, guess what she's going to do? She's going to put you to sleep
Just put you to sleep.
because that's what you need, right? So it's like it's just really understanding that leaning into the unknown, it doesn't have to be a scary thing. And fear doesn't have to be something that holds us back. It's just false evidence appearing real. So what I like to say is like, okay, fear's here. Like we get the like, oh, okay, that brings me like the fear. Like you kind of feel it in your body. It's like, okay, thank you. Thank you because you're showing me that there is something here for me. And it's not for me to say no, but it's me for me to lean into it because at the end of the day, like the worst thing that can happen is you discover who you are, and that
Right.
cannot be so bad.
I'll testify to that. I had the opportunity to meet Dejana earlier, but I was afraid. I'm a control freak.
Yeah.
And so I was afraid to, one, lose control because I
Mhm.
heard, that there are certain bodily functions that can happen that you
Mhm.
have no control over. And I wanted to be in control of that. And the second is I was actually afraid to meet myself because I didn't want to be disappointed
Mhm.
and meet someone that is not as awesome as I like to tell everybody that I am.
Mhm.
So, what I found out is that one is it's really not about me. The
Mhm.
experience is so much bigger than who I am, and that's what made it so much. I like to say it was so much fun.
Mhm.
Fun makes it sound like it was a trip or a ride or something, but what made it beyond it was spiritual, but it was light
Mhm.
and it was great. I got to talk to my ancestors as if they were always here, but they were like my friends. We
Yeah.
were talking and bantering like friends, and they were
Mhm.
giving me shit, which was awesome because that
Mhm.
made me feel at home.
Yeah.
And it was great, and it was great information. And what spirit wanted me to do was move my body. And dude, I moved my body.
Yeah.
So it's a really lovely thing because it really does give you what you want.
Mhm.
And from this point, you had just come back from a second trip to Egypt, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you took people and healed, did mass healings. I'd love
Yeah.
to know more about what you did. Did people have expectations? Because I know that there was a lot of time to share, and
Yes.
and what was it? What were their transformations?
Yeah. Yeah. So through my medicine journeys, I started to see myself in Egypt. So this is why like my intentions of Egypt like started to grow, because in my journeys I would see myself walking through like these beautiful temples, and I just remember like in my visions like this blue turquoise beautiful colors. And then I would come out of my visions and I would say, oh my God, I feel like there's something is calling me. I don't know. And then I started to receive messages about Egypt. So I set the intention that we're going to do Egypt. Our first retreat was in 2023, and we did it through Heal the Heroes. And at that time, I was working with my business partner, and we brought a tighter community, but it was more of the community that we've sat and had medicine with. We were like very close knit, and it was beautiful. So we brought 15 folks our first journey. Beautiful, enlightening. We had a private 11:11. Oh no, not 11:11. A private December ceremony inside of the Great Pyramid. So that was like explosive. It was so many insights, so many revelations. A lot of people were like, really receiving a lot of stuff, a lot of gifts. So then we come back and I said, we got to do this again, but it takes a lot. So it took me, another 2 years to redo it again. And this time I actually partnered with Emmy Shanti. Emmy Shanti is the original co-creator of Sacred Lands Travel. So she has been doing this for 15 years, takes folks all over the world to sacred lands to do the spiritual work. So she said, let's do it together. And she became my new business partner. And we also invite Emily, another co-facilitator, and we just said, okay, we're gonna do this woman goddess experience, just bringing in the people to do the work. Originally, 30 folks answered the call, and it was feeling really good. But then there was a lot of things happening in our government. We had a government shutdown. There's all this immigration stuff happening, and there's also, the genocide in Gaza that is really close to Egypt. So then I started to feel the collective fear within people, and so some folks started to fall off. Eventually, 7 people canceled, and we took 22 people into the experience. Super profound. Every single person that came knew exactly what they came, and understanding like we're here to do some massive work. This is beyond personal work. This is collective work. So yeah, we had a huge amount of experiences. Emmy, with all her experience and her wisdom, she did an activation at every temple and pyramid that we went. So it was about, connecting to the gods, connecting to the energy of the space, obviously asking for permission, making sure that we're not being disrespectful, and then working with like the Ankh and the scepter, and working with the key of life, and working with the elements of Egypt that really connecting us to the teachings. And in Egypt, we have a beautiful teacher. His name is Ahmed, and he's an archaeologist. He's a professor. So he's dedicated his whole life to teaching about the history of the dynasty. So we're walking around with the teacher. One is reading the hieroglyphs, telling us the stories of the gods and what was the original intentions and all this good stuff. And then next thing you know, Emmy's like, okay, the guards are not here. We're gonna, drop in. We're gonna do a meditation. We're gonna do this activation. So it was kind of like walking in this beautiful, like duality of worlds, right? Like in one sense, like we're like learning and being super tourists and taking pictures, and then okay, guards are out of the way. Boom, we're here to do the work. So it's like you just drop in. So it was really beautiful to call in folks that are already on this work, that understand the power, the totality of like what this trip could be in their life, could signify, right? So it was
Dejana, you were making this sound like a can't miss. Like
it,
who wouldn't want to go to Egypt and
it's
tour around with people to read the hieroglyphs and help them connect to
yes,
the Egyptian gods? I know many of our listeners are going to want to get in touch with you. And
absolutely.
as we wrap up, I would love it if you could share sort of anything exciting that you have coming up in the near future and
Yes.
or how people should get a hold of you.
Yes, there's many offerings that we have for the people here, and it depends. Everybody's in a different stages. So we do have medicine journeys. We have a self-love event happening in Napa for Valentine's Day, and that's just mindfulness, yoga, meditation, and being around community. In April, I have a retreat to Bali, so that's my next big trip, and we're inviting folks to come into Bali, the sacred lands. Out there, we do have a teacher that guides us into the process. So, I do kind of like the middle. I'm like the bridge where I bring the people that have never been to the people that have always been, and I just make sure everything is great. And I'm a student of this, so I'm learning so much. And we also have a another Egypt trip for 11/11 next year. We already have it ready to go. So if anybody of your listeners are interested in this experience, we'd love to share the itinerary and the links, and This is one of those things that it calls you. It's not something that is like you really sell. Like you either want to go to
People
Egypt or you
know if
don't.
it's time to go.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Like you either want to go or you don't. So if you are receiving the calling to go, I mean, next year is year one, right? We're ending this year nine, which is the ending of all cycles.
Mhm.
Next year one is a huge year. We do have the pyramid reserved for us from 5 in the morning to 7 in the morning. That's 2 hours on 11/11. So we basically go before the sun's up, and then we come out at sunrise, which is magnificent, is like next level experience. And then throughout, we just transverse the whole nation of Egypt, going to different temples and pyramids, and just really learning about like how the gods seeded the planet and what was the original code and what was the original like teachings. And we've gone so far away from so many things. So it's just like grasping the little bits that we do have so we can integrate and live like the gods and the goddesses that we are supposed to be living, right? Like really living our purpose and our dreams. And but we come back into this world of the matrix that it can be so sticky sometimes and so confusing. So this is why we do these trips, to like bring clarity to your what you want,
I
your
love
intention,
it,
your mission.
Dejana. I
Yeah.
just love it. And you've made me get my tourist bag all revved up. I know Cynthia's revved up
Let's
too,
go.
especially
Oh
for
yeah,
Bali.
Raleigh.
That was the right thing
Raleigh.
to say.
Yeah.
Um, and we better leave it there. So
Yeah.
thank you, Dejana Mendoza, for appearing this week on Mind Power Meets Mystic. And for all of our listeners, if you would give us a quick follow or rate us or review us, or even better,
Yeah.
share this episode with a friend who you know can't miss one of Dejana's trips. That would be awesome. All of her contact information will be in our show notes, and we
Yes.
will be back with you next week. Bye
Thank you,
bye.
Michelle. Thank you, Cynthia. Bye.